Hey everyone, hope you're having a great week. Thanks for joining us on the American Huddle alongside Andy Gresh. I'm Haley Outen. We're heading into week 8 of the college football season, really in the heat of conference play now, Andy. And when we look ahead to Saturday night, no question, I think that the marquee matchup is between Tulane and Memphis. Both of these teams in the West Division ultimately control their own destiny if they win this game.
Yeah, and before the Temple people get their nose out of joint, the reason that Tulane and Memphis is so important is because it's a West Division matchup. And as we kind of look at Memphis having lost to Temple last week, this matchup now is much more magnified because it's going to drop you down that proverbial seed line. And now what we've gotten into, Haley, and I love this part of the year, is you're essentially playing your round robin here, right? Here's your crack. You win, you advance, you move on, you got a chance to maybe make the American Conference Championship game. And look, Memphis, they're hot down there. The fans are all ticked off. I would think that it's a kettle that is boiling for the Tigers, but that said, they have a Tulane team coming in who's been really good defensively, great on offense, and they got a quarterback now that they believe in. All Justin McMillan does is win games, and it doesn't matter the stats. The guy's a winner.
All right, prediction for that game.
Well, I'm going to go Memphis barely, and I think this is that proverbial coin flip. But there's something tells me that Memphis, a little bee in the bonnet. I expect them to come out and have a better start than they did at Temple. I mean, they really got down in the first half on the road to Temple, and it bit them in the end, obviously. I expect a better start from Memphis. But here's the thing about Tulane. We know they can score, and when they're right, they can possess the ball. So may Memphis be put in a position to where they got to score a bunch of points with, say, 5 to 7 minutes less football possession time than where Tulane is at. To me, time of possession could end up being a real key in this one.
Tulane at Memphis, 7 p.m. Eastern, Saturday night on ESPN2. All right, you mentioned Temple. They finally cracked into the top 25 in the coaches poll this week after defeating Memphis last weekend. They're going to take on number 19 SMU. Cross-divisional, but still very important because both of these teams have a perfect record in American play.
Here's what's interesting from the Temple side of this, Haley, is that they beat Memphis. If they beat SMU, not only do they hurt them in conference play, but Temple is now having the opportunity to build a resume to put their flag in the ground and say, hey, we should be one of the more well thought of teams coming out of the American Athletic Conference. Now, the thing that I like about SMU is they've been able to score on anybody. So I think if you're Temple, there's got to be a thought process of possessing the football. Yes, we got to score points. They need to win the battle straight up on special teams. But I think SMU offensively brings something that Temple hasn't gone against, and that is a Sonny Dykes run offense that can do a lot of different things. We know they can throw it, they can play fast. They've got great quarterback play from Buechele. I think SMU ends up winning this game. Temple's now got to go on the road. And the other thing, too, how does Temple deal with prosperity, right? Big win against Memphis at home. Now what do you do the next week going on the road against a team as highly thought of as Memphis?
Well, we saw this for Temple earlier in the season when they knocked off Maryland, who was a top 25 team at the point, and then we saw them go to Buffalo. So what lessons do you think just quickly can be taken from that?
Well, it's the whole you better be prepared and better be ready to play right out of the chute in the first quarter. I just think SMU presents a set of challenges that ultimately will win out against Temple unless Temple dominates on special teams, and that is something they can do.
All right, Temple at SMU, that's 3:30 p.m. Eastern, Saturday on ESPN2. Houston heads up to UConn, Andy. Both of these teams, they're looking for their first win in American play.
Yeah, and I think for Houston, it's the revolving door of quarterbacks trying to figure out which one they want to settle in with now that De'Aaron King is redshirted. And for UConn, the battle continues. I mean, we could sit here and talk about how Randy Edsall's trying and they're building this and they're building that. They got to get a result. I mean, it's that simple. You can't just sit here and talk about year after year, week after week, we're building this, we're doing this. They got to start to get results. Last week was really ugly. I have a funny feeling that this week could get ugly on them at Rentschler.
All right, Houston at UConn. That's at noon Eastern on ESPNU. USF at Navy. The Bulls are coming off a pretty nice comeback win over BYU. And for the Mids last week, they showed some pretty good defense against Tulsa.
You mentioned USF. Let's start there. A very good win, Haley. I think they needed it. They needed to build that confidence, and they get it against a big-name brand in BYU. And then there's Navy, who's 17 against Tulsa. Holy gee. You know, we talked a little bit here last week about defenses. Temple I threw in the mix. There was Navy in there. Navy's starting to cement themselves defensively as a team that can compete. And to me, the fly in the ointment was always the Navy defense in terms of putting their offense in a position where they had to score 35 to win games. This year it's been very different. I'm sure there will be some leakage against good teams, but defensively they are light years better than I thought they were going to be.
USF at Navy, 3:30 p.m. Eastern on CBS Sports Network. Tulsa hits the road to number 21, Cincinnati. The Bearcats looking really good this year. This is the game that they're going to have before they have a bye week to get ready here for the rest of the season. What are you expecting to see in this matchup?
That's why this is a danger game, because Cincinnati, who did have success last year, so how do they handle prosperity? They've done it pretty well, but they've got the bye week coming up. They've got a sort of a Tulsa team that's been tested, hasn't been able to break through as consistently as they would like, and we know what happened to them last week as well. So if you're Cincinnati, you can't look at this as, oh, we're just going to roll the helmets out there and be okay. They need to end on a good note heading into the bye week to really carry that momentum into the month of November. They've got a great opportunity here to capitalize and build on the great season they had last year, and they've got to finish the first half by getting it done against Tulsa, and I think they will.
All right, Tulsa at Cincinnati, 3:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPNU. Last but certainly not least, ECU hits the road to UCF. It's going to be homecoming weekend in Knights country. What are you expecting?
The Pirates and Knights, get your swords out.
That is terrifying. That is a terrifying impression.
Yeah, well, I mean, they picked the mascots, not me. I'm just doing a
Hopefully
cheapo
there aren't
imitation.
any children watching this show because you're completely terrified.
It's not like I actually pulled out a sword, for crying out loud. What am I, a samurai?
All right, so you've got some Pirates and some Knights.
And
East
some
Division
samurais.
matchup under the lights, 7 p.m. at night in Orlando. What are you expecting to see?
I worry for ECU in this one because the depth isn't there. And you've got UCF who... They're hurting a little bit. I think their thought was, let's get to let's try to get to a Final Four. Let's try to compete for a national championship. We know how the season has gone for them, but in all honesty, I think UCF, they got multiple quarterbacks to mix in there, and all of them can run the offense at the high level. They're kind of like the antithesis of Houston right now. Houston's trying to figure out who can run it. UCF's got multiple guys who can run their offense. And again, I just think for ECU, this is where it's really going to start to get tough, because they don't have that level of depth that they would want. They've got the coach in Mike Houston. I believe in him. It's just going to take him a couple of years to get his football team 1 through 70 on the roster, ready to go to a place like UCF and get a win.
Make sure to follow along on Twitter this weekend, American_FB, and of course you can find highlights over on Facebook.
Whoa! We're not done. Not yet.
Oh.
No.
I know exactly where you're heading with that.
Yeah.
We have a very important close to the show. Don't go anywhere yet. We would like to call in our friend Corey Kamershak, who's been behind the scenes here. Come on up, Corey. Quickly.
Yeah, hustle up and break into the old scene here.
Corey has been working at the American for 1.5 years.
Get behind us.
Come on over
for crying
here.
out loud. Get in here, this guy.
Hey, we got you this plate of donuts.
Oh, yeah, you did. That's
for
right.
all of your hard work behind the scenes. Corey does it all at the American, so we appreciate you, and we're going to miss you very much.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
So this is the face behind, the brains behind the whole operation.
So for those who want to know kind of how this all works here, right? Haley kind of tells everybody what to do. Corey then makes sure that it can be executed technically, and he's the one who edits all of the stuff that we say that you never get to see, or that some people don't want to hit the air.
Do not go there.
No, Corey's great. He's leaving it. It's been a ton of fun. And yeah, of course we had to come in and you were getting away without getting embarrassed on this? What's wrong with you?
Exactly.
How long have you worked with us, for crying out loud?
Yeah, say a few words.
Well, there's a
going
reason.
away speech.
There's a reason that I'm behind the camera and you guys are in front of the camera, but it's been a pleasure, and I hope the fun times keep rolling even after I leave. So.
Yeah.
Well, we're looking forward to Corey's questions on the American mailbag every week.
Yeah.
So we know he'll still
Sure.
be around. But anyways,
he'll be a Las Vegas guy or something like that on Twitter or whatever. That's right. You're heading west. The one great thing about Vegas is you can play golf all year round, and that's where we would connect on that, buddy.
Hey, I like golf too. Okay, Andy.
Oh, I didn't know you did.
on.
I thought you just covered it.
Let's go. No, I can.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
You can. I like that. That's very good. Ladies and gentlemen, the golf coverage coming up later on the American Digital Network. We're going to right back to you after this.
Yeah, I have till spring to get my practice in, so we're good.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, well, thank you so much to Corey. Thanks to all of you at home.
Good luck,
We're going to
buddy.
miss you big time, but the American Huddle, it won't be the same without you. So we hopefully the show doesn't take a deep decline after this.
Hey, listen, if it is, it's all your fault. So.
I know. Usually is. All right, thanks so much for tuning in this week. We'll see you back here next week on the American Huddle.